Did you know that 93% of life insurance agents fail in the first 3 years of the business? The question is, why is this the case, and does it really need to be that way? One of the missions that I'm on personally in building our agency and driving our IMO the way we are is to create better training, better infrastructure, better education for agents to be able to understand how to build a successful business, to be able to impact the lives of the people around them more successfully. In this video, we're going to talk about the number one thing that I think all agents entering this business need to wrap their head around in order to succeed. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell. That way you're notified every time I launch a new video. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, Cashflow hackers? It's Chris with Life 180. In this video, we're going to be talking about the number one thing that you as a life insurance agent need to be doing to increase your chances of success as a life insurance agent in this business over the long haul. Here's the deal. When people get into this business, I feel like it's very common that people get into the business because they just want to help people, but they're not really clear on what helping people means to them. And so you typically get excited. Maybe you were exposed to this idea, this concept, these products, the education, everything around it out of the onset. And because you got excited and because you wanted to implement it in your own life, you now are like, wow, like if this is a great way that I could either create a side income or that I want to share it with other people, and maybe I want to do it full time because you're in transition. We deal with a lot of people right now working in the real estate industries and mortgage industry that are trying to figure out, how do I make this transition? Because like cash is drying up, I've got this network, I'm a salesperson, maybe this is something that would make sense for me. Well, here's the deal. I think what's really important to understand is like, okay, if that's the case, most of the time people come in and they just start kind of being a salesperson and they just start reaching out to people, and maybe, yeah, sure, they do some good things and they make a list of people and they contact that list and they work that list. But at the end of the day, if you don't do some work before you start reaching out to people on who you are, what you do, why you do what you do, then you're going to struggle in this business. You're not going to communicate what you're doing, how you're doing it, and why you're doing it as effectively. Now, this is a pretty common process that people go through, and I think everybody in some way, shape, or form goes through this process in understanding or learning how to communicate what you're doing and why, if you're selling life insurance, why you're selling life insurance. And so in this video, what I want to do is I actually want to go through this, and I want to talk about Simon Sinek's Golden Circle. He did this thing. If you've never seen Simon Sinek's TED Talk or read his book, Start With Why, I think it's a really great place for you to start, is to go back and maybe watch one of those talks. I think his TED Talk is 20 minutes long. But in this video, I'm going to break it down, and I want to talk about it in terms of life insurance agents, because here's the deal. I'm going to give you the quick rundown of like what Simon Sinek says in regards to the golden circle here. So he's basically saying this is the golden circle. Now, what he says is everybody knows what they do, fewer people know how to do it, and even fewer people know why they do what they do. And the companies that really stand out and differentiate themselves in the market will start with why. And the what and the how is just is really inconsequential compared to why they're doing what they're doing. And John Maxwell always uses the statement, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, but once they find out how much you care, you better know something. That's a very similar way of saying people got to know why you're doing what you're doing, and how much you care is directly correlated to why you're doing what you do, right? And so when we look at this, let's think about it in terms of life insurance, right? So what do? We sell life insurance, right? How do we do it? Well, everybody's going to be a little different. Do you sell final expense insurance? Do you sell whole life insurance? Are you an infinite banking practitioner? Are you somebody that just loves high cash value life insurance? Are you looking to utilize life insurance for real estate? The how is important, right? But what is really important is why. So it's easy when you get into this business to start with what. You know what you do. I sell life insurance and you're in this business. It becomes harder, and this is where I think a lot of agents get stuck, is in the how. When you start thinking about how you are selling, that's where you get like kind of tripped up or caught up or hung up or slowed down in the education loop of learning about how to design policies, learning all the different ways policies can be leveraged for different investment strategies, different savings strategies, different retirement strategies, legacy planning, all these different things. The how is extremely diverse in the life insurance space, and people can get slowed down. So if you join if you join the industry and you're like, all right, I know I sell life insurance, that's what I do. How am I going to do it? Well, all right, I'm going to learn this, and you get stuck in this. But it takes people a long time to get into why they're doing this business in the first place. And the problem with that is if you don't lead with why, you are really you're tripping yourself up, because listen, this is an important concept and philosophy in every single business. Simon Sinek started this, and he talks about Apple and tech companies and stuff, and the importance of starting with why. Make no mistake about it, people make decisions emotionally. They validate those decisions with logic, right? And so what is the emotion? The emotion is the why, right? The emotion is understanding why the company exists, what problems they're trying to solve, what is their mission, what drives them, what leads them forward. And so for you, you got to start off and you got to think about why do you do what you do? One of the, people ask why I spend so much time talking about IUL. It's because I have a personal experience that is very personal to me, right? So for me, it's why IUL focus? My why for IUL is, and I can get into the what and how of it all, but the why behind, and I'll just use my story here, the why that I do the IUL thing is because I got into the business probably very similarly to you. If you're watching this and you're an IUL agent, I got into this business because I wanted to help people with their money. And I fell in love with the IUL concept and the upside potential and the downside protection. And I became a huge advocate, and I was selling it all over the place. I got to the point where I was a director of business development for one of the top companies in the country. And then I realized it wasn't what I thought it was, right? And so then I had to have some hard decisions, hard conversations with my wife and my clients and all this stuff to figure out what was I going to do moving forward. And I decided that I was going to go the whole life route because that was more in alignment with what I actually believed I should be doing in helping people with their money. And when I realized that IUL wasn't the solution, and then I got hit with a lawsuit to keep my mouth shut, I got to the point where that became very personal to me. And I just felt like everybody in the world who is selling IUL probably selling it for the same reasons I was selling it. They just don't know what I know. And so I just feel like I have a responsibility to share that with them, right? So when I'm talking about why I'm building the agency and helping save IUL agents and give them a better solution that's going to be more in alignment with their values and beliefs and how they're trying to serve people, this is why I do what I do. But now let's talk about, why do you sell life insurance? Why are you interested? Okay, you sell life insurance. Let me just use an example, because I think this example is going to be really easy. So, all right, so what do? You sell life insurance. How do you do it? I'm going to just use the term cash flow hacking, right? So, which is basically what everybody would think about infinite banking, but instead of thinking about it from any debt or depreciating assets like cars and stuff like that, we're utilizing it only for cash flowing assets, right? That's the purpose, that's the intent. And so what do? We sell life insurance through the terms of cash flow hacking. Okay, that's great. Why am I doing this? I am doing this because I am on a mission for myself, right? I'm living this. My wife and I are investing in real estate. We're doing things down in the Dominican Republic. I'm launching a real estate investment fund. We're in the process of doing all this stuff to increase the cash flow in our life and teach other people how to create cash flow, because I just believe that the financial system is broken, right? I believe the financial system is broken, and the information that traditional personal finance teaches is just misleading, wrong, inaccurate, and it's designed to keep you a slave to the system, then give you freedom and empowerment, right? That's what I believe. And so I am doing this to show people how to reach financial freedom much faster. That's why I wrote my book, Cashflow Hacking. That's why I love showing. My goal is to be able to show people, instead of reaching financial freedom in 40 years for retirement, they could do it in 10 years or less. And listen, that's what I'm doing this because this is the path my wife and I are on. It's the path my family's on. And I know that this is a duplicatable thing that every single person can do. If they knew what I knew, everybody'd be doing it. And so this is why I do what I do. How do I do it? I do it through cash flow hacking. I do it through utilizing whole life insurance, and I do it through utilizing financial structure, not taking on unnecessary risk, right? And I implement these strategies And so at the end of the day, what do I have to be? I have to be a licensed life insurance agent to do it. That's what it starts with. But do you notice a difference in the power of the story when I start with the why side of it and I reverse engineer my way into the conversation about I have to utilize life insurance. And so if I started with, hey, I'm a life insurance agent, just imagine the conversation if you're up at a networking event and you go through and the conversation is like, hey, what do you do? Well, I'm a life insurance agent. Like, they're gonna shut you down and you're gonna be like, you're gonna lose so much opportunity. But if they say, what do you do? Well, rather than tell you what I do, like, I think what I love to tell people is like why I do what I do, because that's so much more important to me than what I do. Right? And then you reverse engineer the story, right? And you get into the point that you have a life insurance license and you utilize life insurance to execute on your why and your how, right? So if you do that and you lead from that place, now what happens is, because throughout this storytelling process, you've built emotional buy-in a lot of the times. The more you do it, the better off you're gonna get, right? And that is what you need to do in starting with the why. This is the important element that I think most people in this business, they don't think about. They get in the business, they think, hey, it's just commoditized, it's transactional. I sell life insurance, I'm gonna buy leads, I'm just gonna sell them. That's what I'm gonna do is I sell life insurance, I'm gonna buy leads. And maybe most people don't even get into why they do it. Until you can connect with why you're doing this business and you have a great emotional reason that you can communicate with people, you're gonna be one of the part of the 93% that doesn't succeed long-term. So anyway, hopefully that adds value in you. Hopefully it inspires you to go out and actually be intentional about finding your why in this business, and then figuring out how can you start with why? How can you lead from a communication perspective on why you're doing what you're doing, to build a story to make it so when you're telling people what you do, they don't run the other direction, because you lead with the fact that you're a life insurance agent. So that's it. Until next video, have a blessed, inspirational day. Hopefully you found value in this. If you did, please like it, share it, subscribe, hit the bell. Get it out there to people. I think this is really important information for every life insurance agent in the business. That is it. Talk soon.